I'd been scouting out a clearing pretty close to the cabin, and one of the still evenings we had this past week, I jumped on the mountain bike to go for a hunt. Usually I go hunting with other people. Solo hunt's a different kind of experience. I'd go as far as to say that it's meditative to be able to get so absorbed in your surroundings. I was lucky enough to spot and stalk a deer. And by the time I field dressed it, it was dark. And I hadn't really given too much thought to how I was actually going to carry a deer on a bike. But luckily the deer here are small, and I did figure out a way to get the deer to ride the bike, even if I couldn't. It wasn't quite as gratifying as if I'd had the joy of sharing it with others. This past week I also got an email from a friend, Charles Montgomery, who's working on a book that will be published next year called Happy City. And he's been spending a number of years studying the science of happiness and well-being and the influence it has on the way we live and the way it shapes cities, and also vice versa. And he introduced me to the concept of biophilia, which is the joy that humans can derive from being around nature and other living organisms. I guess even if you intend to kill and eat one of them. A major component of happiness is having a sense of community and even the casual interactions that you can have. And a couple days later, Chris and Ellen showed up with their canning gear and gave me a lesson, my first time canning venison. So all around, a much more gratifying experience than sitting alone in the dark gnawing on a deer leg. Here it is, really quite beautiful. I turn the tap, water comes out. I can't express what a huge quality of life factor this is to have running water here in the cabin on demand. And I have Lisa to thank for that. She hooked up the plumbing while I was busy digging the outhouse in preparation for moving in. Here, I'll take you outside and you can see what this is hooked up to. And there it is. All it is just a simple gravity feed. I've got this water butt, a 110-gallon plastic butt on top of this pole construction water tower. It's just a couple garden hoses that run down. It just drops straight to the ground, curls up underneath the cabin, and then goes straight up to the kitchen sink. So this is the side of the roof. It got sheeted in tin, but all the rain trickles off to the side into the gutter and then runs down into the water butt. So I've got all this catchment area, this side of the roof. And I purposely put the stovepipe on the other side so that all the creosote and ash and smoke, etc., that comes out of there doesn't fall onto the roof side that takes all the water. I actually don't use this for drinking water. I use it for washing, brushing my teeth. And if I do cook with it, then I'll boil it. It's simple. It works. It's inexpensive. What more could you ask for? Here's a handy little tip that I learned recently is you can use car wax to help keep your shotgun from rusting. Yeah, with the salt water and the sand and the 100% humidity, everything up here just wants to rust or decompose. So things take a little more care and maintenance to keep them running. This past week, Rich and I went down Mid-Island to go collect those shakes that my friend JC and I split this past summer. We had to haul them out of the woods to the water's edge, and then from there through the mud into the boat, and then drove them to town where we piled them up on the dock, and then returned the next day to haul them up from the dock onto the pier and into the back of the pickup. And then after driving them back here, hauled them from the pickup up the path and onto the back deck there. Gave me a new appreciation for just how convenient and relatively inexpensive it is to just back up your truck at a mill and buy machine processed shingles or lumber. He told me where to go with the kayak and coached me on using a simple log as a blind, and I got my first island goose. I had that same feeling of sadness taking a life, but also the rewarding feeling of putting in the hard work to harvest and process my own game, which showed me how to pluck and clean the bird and burn the pin feathers off in the fire. So we have a couple of geese for Christmas dinner. Through the holidays, Rich, Lisa, and I did another building push. We'd hoped to be done by New Year's, but yeah, as always, it takes way more time than you think. Working with Rich and Lisa just reminds me of how much easier it is to work with other people. Not just because more gets done, but you can also feed off their energy for motivation and momentum. I had started out wanting to build this cabin all alone with nothing but a hammer and a chainsaw. And now I warmly welcome any help, not just from Rich and Lisa, but also visiting friends and the work trade arrangements that I have. I'm also unashamedly using power tools. As much as I love my titanium hammer, you just cannot beat the speed and ease of a compressor and nail gun. Yeah, as for Christmas, unless you are Haida, generally most people's extended families are elsewhere, and people get together for dinner groups. I attended Christmas dinner hosted by Ross and Kelly and her family, and one of my geese made it onto the Christmas table. Yeah, I'm not really one for New Year's resolutions, but I do have a few goals for the last 3 months of my first year here. First, of course, is to finish the cabin. Secondly, I'd like to get out and meet some of those interesting people that I keep hearing about, but haven't made the time yet to go meet. And thirdly is to widen my foraging. I'd way underestimated both how much time food collection takes and also how much time building would consume. But anyway, Happy New Year, and hope you're having a great start to 2012.